Welcome to the NNN Show. I'm your host, Chris Tices, and we're here to talk about clickbaiting. Yes, the art of clickbaiting to get people to, click on your videos or articles and things like that. And a lot of websites have been doing that due to a interview that was given by the newest Nintendo president, who was talking about a whole wide range of different things. But it was a comment that he made about the possibility of one day down the track, possibly decades away, of shifting away from home consoles. And boy, oh boy, did everyone jump on that comment and run for the hills for that. They knew that that was the line or the paragraph that they were going to zoom in for their titles and their thumbnails to get people to click on their articles. So this is kind of crappy. So let's have a look. Let's have a little look at what some of the websites have done. And one particular YouTuber who I've seen in the recent past likes to do a little bit of clickbaiting himself. Now, here at Nintendo News, we don't do clickbaiting, hence why my subscription growth has been pretty damn slow over the past 4 years, and why our titles look fairly mundane and boring at times. But that's what we do at Nintendo News. We try to bring all the facts and figures and that. So let's have a look at what some of these websites have done. All right. So let's have a look at some of these websites. Now, some of them have gotten them right, but definitely they homed in on the comments of what have people said. Now, Eurogamer, first off, let's have a look. They say Nintendo may move away from the home console development, says company president. We aren't really fixated on our consoles. So I would say that Eurogamer did a pretty okay job on that, but really, was that really the cusp of the whole interview? There's a wide range of different things that they talked about. He talked about flexibility. He's talked about, obviously, looking at this article, Nintendo's smartphone game development to secure a continuous stream of revenue. He wants to increase doing that, which is okay by me, as long as the main focus doesn't move away from home consoles. That's entirely understandable. He also adds, looking at this article, I don't want our developers to think too much along the lines of, what should I do if we fail? He added, my most important role is to create an environment in which they can demonstrate their own abilities. He's not a pro developer myself, he says, so I'll leave the actual development to leaders that can tell what a good game is and what isn't. So, which is very, very interesting. So let's pop that off and get to another website. Nintendo president, our focus could shift away from home consoles. Does that mean that they're not making home consoles? Is the Switch the last console? They merged the handheld and the home consoles together. Is this it? Is the Switch the last console? No. That's not really it. So what's been, what did he actually say? He said it has been over 30 years since we started developing consoles. Nintendo's history goes back even further than that. And through all the struggles that they faced, the only thing that they've thought about was what to make next. In the long term, perhaps our focus as a business could shift away from home consoles. Flexibility is just as important as ingenuity. So basically what he's saying is one day maybe the home console front could disappear. And the only way that I could see that is if a disrupting type of device comes along, like the iPhone did to the mobile phone industry. Or streaming consoles become more of a thing, like your little Chromecasts or something like that. You just little dongle that you put up against your TV and do it like that. And that is quite possible. Just an easy streaming device in the coming decades. But home internet isn't the same worldwide. Australia's internet is very poor compared to the international scene, even compared to Asia countries and America and places like that. And it's a long work and process. So I don't think home consoles are going away anytime soon. And the Switch is basically their main It's a main way of making money. It's absolutely clear. Let's have a look at another website. Nintendo Life future business shift could see Nintendo move away from the home console development and increase the amount of games on smartphones. Oh, that is a title and a subheading that will scare the pants off every traditional Nintendo fan. Increase the games on smartphones? That is absolutely scary. I don't know how that's going to go. So, that's another, Nintendo Life, I'm not too surprised. Now, let's have a look at some statistics here. I'm just showing this up for you guys. Now, you saw that this was a really boom time. You can see that PlayStation 3 was still doing pretty good. Xbox One, the Wii was going massively, and the DS. I mean, you look at it, they were making up half the market share 10 years ago, 11 years ago now, when it comes to console sales and things like that. Now, you can see that there was a dip between 2012 and around that 2015 to 2016. That's due to the Wii U not doing so well and some of the other consoles that were not faring so well. So that, the PS3 was still doing okay, the Wii U was tanking, Xbox 360 was going well, but you see these numbers were going down a bit. A range of consoles weren't that selling well, but Nintendo just wasn't really pulling its own weight, and it didn't have the huge numbers that the DS and the Wii were doing. Like, as good as the PlayStation 4 was going, it wasn't getting 25 million sales a year like the Wii was each year, or the DS, which was literally on fire in terms of sales each year. Now, you can see the 2016 here dropped to its lowest, and then it had a really nice bounce up due to PS4 sales increasing, the Switch doing very well, Xbox One is doing well. And look at the 3DS. Despite people wanting it axed, it still put in 6 million sales. Now, I'm not too sure about how legit these numbers are, but they're definitely more legit than VG charts. Now, 2018 numbers that I have been told are actually higher than 2017. So if you look at those, if you sort of put those numbers in there, they're probably the best numbers since 2012, and dare I say 2011. Back in the day when the 3DS was selling really well and the PS3 and Xbox 360 were all cruising along, and even the Wii was still doing okay with those numbers in the DS. So, it was a pretty healthy year for that part. Now, that's pretty okay. Now, the whole clickbaiting thing is really poor. A lot of people will take this article, pull out the most interesting title and put it up there. I'm sure all of us has been guilty at some point, but this is pretty blatant. And he's just sort of, I think it was a bit of a throwaway comment. He was saying, oh, well, one day in the coming decades that might happen. And he's looking towards the long-term future. He's a young president, so he'll probably be there for a good 15 to 20 years. So he's looking at the market well and truly into its future. And we don't know what 20 years will be like. I don't think anyone could believe that the Switch would be a thing 10 years ago, or even the DS back in the late 90s, saying that you'll be playing with 2 screens on one handheld device, or stuff like that. You can't predict the future. So we can't sort of take away from the point of home consoles. Now let's look at some clicky bait stuff. Who's this guy? This is, because I've seen him do a couple clicky bait. Van Buren 20. He's got 22,000 subscriptions. I have no idea how he said that, but this is the way he worded it. President of Nintendo says no more consoles in the future, more mobile games instead. He says it isn't clickbait because he refers to the article of Nintendo Life, which it kind of makes him seem even worse than what he is, because he's got this massive clickbait article, and you go to the source of the article that he relies on, and he does not even say that line at all. He does not say no more consoles in the future, more mobile games instead. Now, of course, he talked about the possibility of home consoles not selling well in 20, 30, maybe 40 years time. I'm looking at the long-term projections when I'm an old man. But he definitely didn't say that, and I think he was talking more about making sure that Nintendo remains a flexible company. So if things do go wrong, let's just say that we have a couple Wii U type consoles, and the home console market is shrinking, PC becomes more popular, streaming boxes become more popular, mobile games become more sophisticated, maybe they'll have buttons on them one day. We never know about the future of gaming. But this is what basically his title says. President of Nintendo says no more consoles in the future. He didn't say that, more mobile games instead. Well, he did say he wants to see more mobile phone games from Nintendo, as their success has been kind of mixed. Fire Emblem Heroes is probably the most successful game. No, it's not Pokemon Go, because that's not actually owned by Nintendo. It's owned by the Pokemon Company. So let's see what he says.
Nintendo, according to this interview, stated that Nintendo may no longer be making home consoles and may be focusing more on mobile games. I feel like I'm going to throw up.
Oh, well, first 14 seconds, he basically admits that this is a clickbait article. Why does he have to do this? Maybe that's why he's got 22,000 subscribers and I've only got 860. Maybe if I did some clickbait articles and got a couple hundred views out of it, then maybe I might get a few subs. Well, no, that doesn't make sense, because people would be pissed off at you and probably give you a dislike on the video and then just leave the channel. That doesn't make any sense at all. Maybe you could just be more honest and talk about it like I did in the previous video about what the president actually meant by that statement, and maybe you might pick up some more subs out of that. Let's just continue on. Oh, we're not going to get through that. Oh, God, no.
Hey, guys, VainBjorn20 back again, and I cannot sleep right now. I was laying in bed of an interview with the president of Nintendo. If you guys do not know, we just recently changed, not that long ago, presidents, for Nintendo.
We know
I'm really getting sick to my stomach, and I'm having a hard time falling back to sleep. Let's just go ahead and read this. It says, responding to a question about the risk factors associated with the console and software development, the president said the following. So this is a quote. This is exactly what he said. We're in the entertainment industry. There isn't much we can do about that risk. To us, the guiding principle by which we operate is offering customers in all around the world innovative and unique ways to play games. Now, if you guys know, Nintendo's been doing this from, day one. They pretty much innovated the D-pad, what we all use today. Nintendo, when they came out with the Wii, everyone was like, what is this? Motion controls. People were like doubting, like, this is going to fail. What happened? Everyone bought a Nintendo Wii. I mean, they tapped into a market that people didn't even know existed. My mom bought a Nintendo Wii, okay? She barely plays games. So that just tells you the market that they tapped into. So, I mean, this is a true statement. The interview is going good right now. Let's go ahead and read on. When asked further about innovation, the president said Nintendo wasn't currently fixated on consoles, with the current focus on the unique Switch hardware and continuing to be as flexible as possible with the delivery of this as an experience. Now, he did go on and quote this, and this is where it starts to get a little, fishy. He says, we aren't really fixated.
This is the part when he starts to try to panic people for no apparent reason.
On our consoles. At the moment, we're offering the uniquely developed Nintendo Switch and its software, and that's why we're basing how we deliver the Nintendo experience on. That being said, technology changes. We'll continue to think flexible about how we deliver that experience as time goes on. Now, this next thing that I'm about to say really, really upsets me, because I kind of was thinking this may happen down the road. I've been saying this for a couple years now, and this is kind of like black and white in front of my face, and I'm reading it right now to you guys. And it
really black and white? Really?
It honestly scares the crap out of me. And let me just go ahead and read on. It says, in regards to Nintendo's future plans, the president said the company could one day permanently shift away from home consoles development if necessary. He noted how more mobile games could also help increase the flow of revenue. If you guys know, Nintendo's been increasing, with Super Mario Run and Animal Crossing and stuff. They're trying to really tap into that mobile market. And let's read some of the quotes from the interview from the president himself. He says, quote, in the long term, perhaps our focus as a business could shift away from home consoles. Flexibility is just as important as ingenuity. So, and then he says, I'd like to increase the amount of games on smartphones that have a continuous stream of revenue. What does that mean? It sounds like those, play to win type games, where you download a game for free, and if you want to, be better at it than your friends, or if you want to continue, you got to keep, you get.
Okay, so basically he's speculating off absolute fucking nothing. This is pure speculation on his part. Even Nintendo's philosophy, as far back as Iwata, has said that those are the type of games that they don't really like. Now, I've heard a couple of things about Fire Emblem Heroes a little bit like that, but generally their games are either you pay for the mobile phone game and you get all the content, like Super Mario Run, or as Mario Kart Tour is coming up, I've heard news that that's going to be a free-to-play game, and what you're basically going to pay for is probably characters and courses. So Nintendo's not going to turn into Kenobi overnight with their little slot machine games that they have on mobile phones and that sort of thing in Japan. So this is really just an overreach and a panic that he is trying to create.
That never-ending stream of revenue that just comes on trickling in, and it appears that our new president wants to do this, and it makes me sick. I just hope this is not true, but this is literally, guys, I'll leave a link below to this interview. This really happened, and it really upsets me and makes me sick. I'm disgusted. I always thought that we may see Mario like on the Xbox, or maybe we'll see Mario on the PlayStation.
Jesus,
who knows, down the road. Maybe Nintendo goes third party. They just go all out and they're like, you know what? We'll just go third party. We'll just make games. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. If they still make great games, I honestly don't mind buying a PlayStation or something and playing Mario on it if the games are good and stuff like that. I honestly hope that never happens. Nintendo's my champion. I love Nintendo. I want to play Nintendo games on Nintendo, systems. I don't want to play it on other systems, but it looks like they say in the future that could happen. I don't know. And they're focusing on...
Holy shit, it could happen in the future. It could happen in 20, 30 years' time. Here's a news flash for this dude here. Nintendo's always been flexible. Nintendo's been flexible since 1889 when the company started up. They've been doing playing cards for the first 50 to 60, 70 years. They went really flexible in the late 50s when they got their partnership with Disney to do playing cards over in America and in Japan. They were flexible during the 60s when they were doing toys, love hotels, and they even bought a taxi company to try to work out what they wanted to do until the 70s when they decided to do more toys, and then they came to the arcades when, surprise, surprise, Donkey Kong, a small known title, became famous. So Nintendo's always been flexible and changing. There's always been that Nintendo experience. It's always been around for many, many decades. Before I was born, before my own mother was born, and even before before my grandmother was born.
On smartphone games and mobile games and that never-ending stream of revenue because it's easy money, and they're starting to realize that, and it looks like they're looking for an easy way out, and it's just...
Well, for Nintendo, it's not entirely easy money for them. They tried with Super Mario Run, didn't really do too well because of the way that they marketed it as a free game, and then you had to pay a fair bit of money to buy the full game when you only got 2 or 3 courses to play with. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, you could say, was very lenient in terms of you getting free stuff from the game to the point where you didn't actually have to buy that much. I was getting free stuff in Pocket Camp to the point where I was like, geez, is this game actually making money for Nintendo? The only game that's really pulled in a bucket load of money that was seen in a recent article in the last couple of weeks was Fire Emblem Heroes, with over $400 million coming in. They finally kind of struck the balance between the free stuff and the stuff that you have to pay for. So for Nintendo, they've taken actually quite a while to get to the point of the easy money. So yes, I mean, who knows? Mario Kart Tour could do well or may not do well. My suggestion is that it would do fairly well in terms of its branding name.
I don't get it. The Nintendo Switch is selling so good. Nintendo's making buttloads of money right now. I don't get it. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think about this interview. Do you think it's just pure speculation? But these are exact quotes. I'll leave a link so you guys...
Yes, they are exact quotes, and he's twisting what the president is saying and trying to create panic and hype from the article. Let's go back to full screen and talk a bit more about this. So you saw from that particular YouTuber, and there's been quite a few cases that he's done, is that he's plucked off a couple lines that the president's saying, and he's sort of talking doom and gloom, saying, "Oh, well, the Switch is selling really well. What are they going to do?" Whoa. Look, they're not going to like abandon the Switch next year. They're not going to discontinue it. They're not saying that this is the last Switch console. There's probably a second one right in the middle of R&D, and it could possibly be released this year based on a number of rumors and people talking about that maybe the Switch needs a bit of a refresh or a cheaper version of it, which if you can't switch between the TV and the handheld, don't call it a Switch. I don't know how Nintendo's going to get over that naming issue. But to the main point, we shouldn't be clickbaiting articles, especially in this age of video games where people will take lines and turn it into rumors and things like that. And you know how angry gamers get over that sort of thing, and how panically they get over certain things that are happening or not happening. Look at Nintendo Direct rumors. They get pretty feisty at times when you hear a rumor about Metroid or Animal Crossing or this or that, and then it doesn't happen, and then people get upset and angry, and all this does is feed sort of false information from this article. All the president said was that possibly one day in the future we might not do home consoles. But I think the main gist of what he was trying to say was that Nintendo needs to remain vigilant and be a flexible company. You know, try to adapt and change to the times. And that's what they've done successfully in their own Nintendo experience way. With the Wii console, when they couldn't battle against Microsoft and Sony with just doing a powerhouse console, to the Switch when they found out the Wii U wasn't selling well and they were struggling to try to cope with two consoles, one which was HD and one with the 3DS, which they knew that the next console on handhelds would have to be HD in terms of the keeping up with the Joneses, in terms of mobile phones and Sony and Microsoft and other streaming devices. And you know, the video game world is becoming more and more crowded, more complex. So really, that's all the president was going to say. You're still going to have your Switch, you're going to have some mobile phone games, and I'm sure they're going to be great experiences. I'm looking forward to Mario Kart Tour, despite me not being the biggest fan of mobile phone games. But just don't panic. And really, for the clickbaiters out there, just don't do it. Just put in an honest title in there. But I know that some of you won't, because that's not going to get you the views and it's not going to get you the money that you want from YouTube or for your website. So that is it for me, with a lot lower subs than most of the other YouTube channels, because I don't clickbait that much. Really don't. And I'll see you next time.